Okay, it's been a very long time, ladies and gentlemen. We are live with Mike Emery, and that's his Orgon table out there. In the we're going to be in vision with Mike Emery here. It's the first time in ages. It's also a long time since I don't need this. I'm going to try a different mic since I'm moving around all over the place. So we're in record. We've got a thing about Orgon bubbles, and I think I'll go to that one. Is that better? And we'll get Mike Emery. You're live. Tell us what's going on.
Hi, Miles. How you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah. You're
Good to
faded
see you.
up and you're hot to go. Yeah, good.
All right. Say, yeah, this Orgone bubble thing is like change the planet, change all the creation. It's totally phenomenal. It's the end of duality. It's a big thing. Everything goes euphoric. It is the step for humans and Earth and everything to take to cancel duality and just go into continuous euphoria. And which we can do. We're actually hardwired to do that. I've got proof of that. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we'll put your... Now, ladies and gentlemen, Mike is going to be in vision on this, so we're going to... There's a big deal on this. This is amazing. Only knew that was going to happen a couple of minutes ago. So, so that was winging it as usual. So here we are. Mike Emery, take it away.
Okay, Miles. So we're getting poor connection because the bubble is very, very powerful.
Now, explain what that actually means, Mike.
Well, it's 2D energy, and it cancels polarity. And like I had a function generator out here, for making waveforms in the gigahertz range, and it died. The transistor stopped working. And so you get too close to it with your equipment and it won't work. They won't work because 3D is polarity, which magnetism, electricity you have to make technology work. And what we have there is 2D. And the amazing
what
thing
are we
about
looking at? What exactly are we looking at in this picture? You've got a number of things there. You've got a
table.
table.
I'll get up closer now here for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that under there is the operative thing. It's or a cloudbuster, an Orgone cloudbuster. You can see it's got 6 pipes sticking out of it. You can see the handle of one of the violet ray tubes there. And you can see some shungite, that bag of shungite I got there that I'm charging up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make more little Orgone pieces to put around this. I will eventually wind up with vision distortion and time distortion. It will be quite literally a bubble that's totally amazing. The thing about this bubble, if you do one, is that you can expect telepathic moments right from the get-go, especially with people that you know. And so that's a cloudbuster. And then there's the intention installation process is really cool, and that's in the essay. And I should really make a video of that of this whole thing for you later, Miles, with more details on how to put all this together.
Yeah, that'll be good fun. Yeah.
It's massively important. And so I'm going to go back inside and I'm going to show you a small version of this, which is easy to get to, and it won't cancel the signal. And then we can go into talking about it. This is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. A guy in Tennessee discovered it, and and he just got that wild idea to put a violet ray tube in an Orgone, and bam, away you go. See, this is a violet ray tube working. You can see the little purple plasma that's created.
Okay, Mike, you keep talking. We're not live at the moment, but we are recording. This Google thing has locked me out, so I need to get a verification code. So keep talking. Keep going.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so there you see the violet ray wand, which is this thing, right? And there's various ends on it, and this is diatomaceous earth, which is in and of itself a Orgone material, because it's about half the white powder gold, 40 to 50% the white powder gold, which is superconducting, and the rest of it's silica, which is like a transistor made out of silica in it, and which is semiconductor, actually an insulator. That's how you make orgone. Is just a large number of capacitance fields all stacked on one another, and the diatomaceous earth does that automatically. And we use diatomaceous earth a lot in the building of the orgone devices because you want to broadcast that energy of the white powder gold, which is found in all living things, and it's non-polar energy, non-judgmental, no polarity.
Okay, if you switch your camera around, you go into a vertical slit again. Good. We're still trying to log in on the live.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Explain.
Yeah, just keep explaining. What are we looking at? What's stuck in it? What's happening here exactly?
I'm sorry, there's somebody trying to call in. I keep cutting them off, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Rats.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to this guy for 2 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll switch
Dr.
back.
Lee, I don't have time right now. I'm doing a television show, and you just interrupted it. About the orgone bubble. So let me go for a couple hours, please. Okay.
Yeah. We still aren't live because it's been so long since we logged in on our YouTube site that we are waiting on a verification code. And we'll see if that's going to happen. So we're back to Mike. Okay, Mike, yeah?
Okay. Everybody that's built one of these bubbles, more like the one outside rather than this one. This one works, but it's not as powerful as the other ones. I don't know why. It seems like it should be more powerful, but it's not. Maybe we don't have enough violet ray. I was just told enough violet ray on it. I can put another violet ray on it and see what happens. Anyway, when you put 2 violet rays, these are old Tesla violet ray tubes. They're easy to come by on Amazon, and they're inexpensive. They're like 30, less than 30 quid in the UK here. And from Amazon, I ordered it and I got it the next day. Totally phenomenal. But these are really quite good units. They overheat and they shut themselves off and then start up again later. So and so they kind of like self-protection mechanism. They're made in China. They work great for what we're doing. Now, what we are doing is we're accessing the bardo, what the Buddhists would call the bardo, the gap. Yeah. The gap in the ethers. It's the connection to everything, absolutely everything. And that's demonstrated by the fact that these orgone bubbles, when they're set up, there's a video, maybe you could amped up email, where a lady in Mexico set up an orgone bubble, and then she dowsed to see how far it was broadcasting, and the dowsing came up to 800 kilometers, which is 500 miles. And then some people from the Ramtha school have been looking for this technology because this technology is required to clean the ethers in order for us to be free, to get the losh and the blood out of the rocks and the ethers. This technology, orgone, this is why Wilhelm Reich died in jail. This technology eliminates all of the darkness, and being supplanted with euphoria. The euphoria aspect of it is a design feature that I can get into later about how it is predetermined. What's happening. This is a predetermined little bit of kit for humans to make themselves free. And not only make themselves free, but learn that their intention, their mind, actually controls virtually everything around them. And you start right away with the weather, which happens every time. Yeah. And I mean, every time somebody fires one of these up, you either get a weather anomaly or the wild animals come around all the time. This always happens. And to the point, about the Ramtha school, these people have been looking for years to find a technology that cleaned ethers, that set up fields, a field that's basically an enlightenment field.
Is this a bit like Trevor James Constable's material, clean things up? Say again.
Considerably more advanced than that. You know, I mean, way more advanced than that.
Yeah,
Now,
I think Trevor James' stuff is going back to 1989. Is that right?
yeah, right. Yeah. Well, going back to Wilhelm Reich, you know, what
Yeah.
Constable is doing the same thing Reich did with those tubes and mirrors in the tubes. You know, and well, the translator is an ideal bit of kit for activating a cloudbuster. Okay. Yeah, but making them is not easy, and we haven't figured it out yet. You know, we know that the violet ray works along with the infrared heat lamp that you saw around the other thing. You put those two, you get a piece of orgone like that big one out there or similar,
What does
and
the
you put
what does the
heat
infrared
lamp.
heat lamp do? What function does that have?
Just a totally amazing aspect of this whole thing is that the orgone material, the capacitance field, is absorbing the 3D energies and converting them to 2D, converting them to euphoria. The more energy you pile onto it, the more euphoric and the more amazing the bubble is. And to the point that, like, the discoverer, a guy named Bill Teising in Nashville, found that he could hit it with 20,000 watts and certain frequency. I forget what the frequency was. And it created a vision distortion. And with that bubble, he stomped on Hurricane Irma. In fact, he and I and a couple other people have been stomping on hurricanes for a while now, and there has not been one hurricane made landfall. You know, not one. Now, back to the translators. I really want to get translators to activate the cloudbusters. But the giant difference between the translator and the cloudbuster is that the translator has to be intended and pointed with intention every time. Okay? The orgone bubble cloudbuster doesn't have to, you don't have to do that. It has memory. You can actually set up programs, applications like, you know, send euphoria to Mother Earth now, so be it. Send euphoria to my cousin now, so be it. And then the energy from when you make one of these, the energy is so powerful, it's just, you're tingling from head to toe. Your heart chakras open up, your throat chakra, and you pretty soon, you know, you power it up enough, you're kind of like floating. You know, you get to the point where you're floating. It's a euphoria.
But this is important, Mike, that people's intention is clean, and they've got to get their thoughts in order, and they've also got to make sure they don't generate negative effects on people.
That's the beauty of this technology, my friend. If you take the way that we're amping this up now with the violet ray tube and with the infrared light, that this is 3D polarized evil energy that the bubble is taking and converting to 2D euphoric energy. Now, obviously there will become a saturation point where you can only put so much 3D energy into a capacitance field, and it'll defeat the capacitance field. We haven't found that out yet, and we've hit them with some really heavy-duty energies. Like I said, 20,000 watt, you know, amplifier, and all it did was make the bubble way more powerful to the point that, you know, Bill stomped on a Hurricane Irma. I mean, stomped on it, and there's proof of that in the essay. You can see it. You can see that the facts on the ground that Hurricane Irma decimated the Florida Keys. Looks like a war zone. A friend of mine that used to live down there went down there. Okay? Hurricane Irma was on its way to West Florida. Never showed up. It was a sunny day. It didn't make it across that little bit of water. Bill stomped on it and stopped it. And that's all due to our attention. Now, Miles, the other nifty thing about the bubble, you know, going along with it, you say, you know, people putting bad intentions. It's not possible. The bubble is a being, and the minute when you're sitting in the bubble having great thoughts, the energy will be all over you, you know, from head to toe, heart chakra, heavy duty. The minute you start thinking about something not good, it leaves. You know, I mean, it just leaves you, bam, like that. You know. You know, it's so simple. It's so straightforward. You know, you're either working in euphoria or you're not. You know, and euphoria works and nothing else does. You know, so I mean, that's why I say that this technology is a predetermined design feature for us to save our ass, for humanity to save our ass, and find out who the God self we are. You know, that our intentions. I will say this about the translators. You know, we're talking heavy duty. You know, translators are heavy duty too. They just don't have a memory, and they don't broadcast. You got to direct them. There's a guy. He's got video, you know, YouTube videos, so I can say, what his name's Harry Rhodes, and Rhodes. You look up his videos, and he'll show you that they have tickled the sun with the translator, 93 million miles away. They tickled the sun and caused sunspots. They were running a test to make sure that they could do that. And the reason they were running the test, because we have a mini ice age coming. Yeah. And since humans, by their attention in Orgon through the gaps, are able to actually cause sunspots, and they did, then the sun is there by our intention to begin with. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to control it. It's just that simple. So that extends to the entire multiverse. Ultimately, when humans get awake and realize what their pure consciousness is connected to absolutely everything, they will also realize that we've been doing this as a trial and error project for billions of years. And once we attain our pure consciousness, we can choose to eliminate this entire multiverse and start over. It's our construct entirely. And this proves it. This proves it.
So how so?
This is mankind's most important technology. Euphoria and telepathy start right from the very beginning, right from the get-go. Well, it doesn't get any better than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, you're going inside now. That's fascinating. It's good to see. You're going outside. Yeah, okay.
Just walking back outside. Take another
now
look at this.
This is where you did the two mirrors, which were parallel mirrors.
No, the two mirrors are still there. You know, they just covered up, and they provide some access. That's the thing. I've been working with this technology, with Orgon, and ways of amplifying it for a long time. But this right here is the cat meow. See that white handle there? That's a violet ray tube, and then you can see the infrared lamp, which is a real cheap infrared lamp you get for baby chicks for keeping them alive. And the infrared is healing, so that infrared energy is going into the Orgon, being converted to 2D and broadcast. The healing energy from the argon, ionized argon in the violet ray tube, is going into the Orgon, being amplified and broadcast, and it blow your socks off. When you get a piece, it doesn't have to be that big. That's a pretty good sized chunk of Orgon. But when you get a pretty good sized piece of Orgon, and you maybe I'll turn the camera around. I might as well show myself now. Huh?
This is a big event, guys.
Yeah.
I think so. We're
I don't know. Here we go. Looks like a camera. Oh, there we go. Little icon.
Excitingness. Oh, there it is. Welcome, Mike Emery. Good to see you, sir. Really great to see you live this time. It's fantastic, and that's because you can see properly, and it's great. Good to see
right. Yeah, I got one of my eyes fixed. I got to work on getting the rest of me fixed one of these days.
Well, it's brilliant. That's excellent. Good to see you. Hello, Mike Emery. And your camera's over there, so I'll say that. Okay. Yeah, I'll do gas GoPro 1. Hello, Mike Emery. Good to see you. Good to see you, literally.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Great. So the only thing I can say to people is to go on to academia and download my essay, Euphoria Conferred to You and Yours. It spreads euphoria. It broadcasts it. The people, the very first one they set up, it broadcasts it's 640 miles by their dowsing. And then the guy who's one of the head guys for the crew wanted it to rain. And so he asked for rain. And then about 2 hours later, it had a vociferous thunderstorm and lightning with rain, heavy rain, which doesn't happen in the Pacific Northwest until August. You know, and they had a big thunderstorm. Everybody, we got another guy, Bubba, who's in the California desert in Mojave, just north of LA. And Bubba has changed the temperature of worries of the valley that he lives in. You know, it's 10 to 15 degrees cooler there than it is anywhere else. The wild animals are all, he has trouble getting rid of them a little bit, you know. It's not that he's trying, but certain of them are not entirely desirable. And so the other thing that he's having there is vision distortion. He's having a situation where he puts a ray wand on one side of this Orgone pyramid that they have there, and the wind comes from that direction. Puts it on another face of the Orgone pyramid, the wind comes from that direction. They're getting healings. He had a guy show up that couldn't get within 100 feet of the bubble because of the pressure on his heart chakra, whereas Bubba can get within 30 feet of it. It is very powerful. If you could sleep in that field, you would come out walking on water sooner or later, because you go too deep. And that's where we all are. That's where everything starts, is in images and too deep. So anyway, really cool. There's all kinds of amazing aspects to go with this. This is why Wilhelm Reich died in jail. This technology right here changed the planet big time.
You sent me a video, which I'm going to try and get up properly. It's this Google is a nightmare because it doesn't let you. Jesus, I don't want to say anything. I want to get full screen, and we'll. Okay, let's. Okay, we're running now, right?
6, 10, 15.
Well, let's get that back to the beginning. And okay, can you hear that?
Emission or broadcast of orgone energy.
I don't see it in the video. Yeah.
It's online. I'm gonna fade you out. I can't show it on your camera. I'm just running it now. Okay. I'm gonna fade you out so we get the sound from the video.
Kilometers around it broadcast.
And start this back.
1.
Okay, back.
Emission or broadcast of orgone energy.
He's dowsing with that rod in front of us with the coil on it.
Broadcast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 50, 55, 58, 60, 65, 70, 80, 90, 100, 120, 150, 180, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400 kilometers, 550, 600, 650, 700, 800 kilometers, 800 kilometers. Thank you. Okay.
That's phenomenal. That's the very first time she turned it on.
Emission.
Okay, I'll just stop
or broadcast of orgone energy.
Right, that's brilliant. I mean, Mike, that's just fantastic. Now, he was dowsing there, right? So, explain what that means.
Dowsing is it's connected to kinesiology, really. the human body knows everything. This has infinite awareness. Via kinesiology, 10 years, 10 American universities, 20 million muscle tests. At the end of all of that, kinesiology and dowsing can be described with one sentence. And that is that the human body will answer perfectly any yes or no question on any subject, period. 10 years, 10 American universities, 20 million muscle tests, that one sentence answers it. And the same with dowsing. But both of them, kinesiology and dowsing, you got to practice at, in order to get it. But once you practice at it, her system there was brilliant. I loved her system, and that dowsing wand that she used.
And that's just his particular thing that works for him, and there's a spring on that to provide a little bit of independence from the human, or what?
Yeah, right. Yeah, but you're not. We control everything. That's what this Orgone bubble has proven. Is that we can, everything that you can see, you control. It's part of your. At the end, it's a reflection from your mind. And and we're the god of it. We can control our imagination. And once we get enough of these bubbles set up worldwide, it'll be exactly like that. It'll be dream time. Whatever you think will happen immediately.
Now, what was in that? What was actually in that? The difference between yours. He had a solid device with two copper pipes in that. But what was in the sort of bowl-shaped mold that he was using there? Fine grit.
Yeah, right. Very fine. Calcium carbonate and white cement. And that in and of itself makes an Orgone device, because you have a conductor and an insulator. And it worked a hell of a lot better than I expected it to work. There's no metal bits in it, which amazes me. I have to see some other people do that, to see if it's going to, be something that's feasible long run.
So what was that exactly? It was calcium carbonate and what? Sorry.
White cement.
White cement and two copper pipes for people to make that at home.
Yeah. It's all, they can make that. But the metal bits, the way that we normally do it is not that difficult. The stuff is free. The metal bits, it's called swarf. You can get it from machine shops. They'll give it to you. What you want is the oldest de-stressed metal bits that they've got. And here in England, you get it from the tip. And it's like £5 for 10 pounds of it or something like that. It's ridiculous. And then you mix that. And the ideal thing to mix it with is fine, dry, on-site dirt where you're at, right where you're at. Establish a connection between the Orgone piece that you're making and everything around you. That's what we're trying to do anyway. And then you also there's tricks to making a really powerful Orgone device that we know work very well. We just did one. I got a buddy in Florida that will lead to all of the native organizations worldwide eventually. This we're talking 1 year. The entirety of this planet can be totally different with this technology. Whereas the accepted way to be able to break out of the matrix and break out of, set us free is mass meditation, of everybody, at the same time every day. This cancels that. This induces the euphoria and the meditation on everybody, whether they want it or not. Spreading 800 kilometers, 500 miles. Your intentions that you put in there are euphoric. They're always euphoric because it's the only way they'll work. And you will ultimately impart euphoria to everything within that 500 miles in one direction. And that's up, down, and sideways. All directions. Broadcasting, all, down there. So we'll be, we should start playing birdsong to these things, because that'll harmonize into the earth and set up a feedback loop with the earth. I've thought about that before, and now I really got to do it. Anyway, yeah.
Bird song.
So you can just turn these things on. You get enough of them running running around planet Earth, this place will change.
Is this a little bit a sort of an upmarket version of the little cupcake being thrown at the base of a mobile phone tower? These little
Yeah,
cupcake
right. Yeah,
orgone
this
things.
scaling that. This is scaling that up considerably. Well, and the big thing is hitting the orgone piece with the 3D energy and having it absorb it. What the 3D energy does, is that it increases the charge accumulation on the metal bits, which automatically increases the strength of the capacitance field or orgone field. And amazingly, it keeps absorbing. Well, a big one like mine keeps absorbing energy, and getting more and more and more powerful. If you can imagine, starting right out, this broadcast 500 miles, it won't be long before it'll be over 1,000 miles. And that's typical, because there's nothing to impede you. You're going through the gaps. You're going through the bardo. The only thing that impedes you is your mind, actually. I mean, if we can smack the sun and make the sun respond, then you can do it. Anything. It's like I mentioned earlier. Bill and I and a couple other people have stopped every hurricane this year. There has not been one hurricane make landfall, and there won't be. We'll stop them. We're going after the volcanoes next. I think we need more people than bubbles for the volcanoes, but we're having no problems with hurricanes.
Now, what exactly does that mean? Are they talking about the volcano in Hawaii? Is that something that you're?
Yeah, right. We need to put a plug in that Hummer. And actually, cool off the magma worldwide. There's a volcano coming up underneath Antarctica. That's the major problem, because of all the ice that's on land. If it starts melting, then the water level will rise worldwide.
Is that because of all that stuff that's been found there? The thousands of pre-world, pre-human beings that are there, these giants which are in blue ice. That's what you're referring to?
Yeah. Well, all of those things, all of the aliens and angels, everything that's outside of us is our construct. This bubble is proof of that. We make everything, absolutely everything, and we can control it. We have done for a long time. What's been going on here has been a entertainment system via separation for our bored, shitless, pure consciousness that is really bored with. It's easy to get bored out there, because you got either that absolutely everything, or you got continuous orgasm with no creativity whatsoever, and which is the most difficult one, because you get stuck in it. For pure consciousness. And so it is very obvious that our bodies have that infinite awareness. The kinesiology proves that. The Russian concave mirrors prove that. You put yourself in a concave mirror, and whether you want to or not, you will see your past, present, future, because it's part of you. It's all, and now every corpuscle of our body knows that, as well as every rock, tree, and wild animal on this planet knows that. Okay? Their past, present, future. Everything knows that except us talking idiots. And we're the designers. We are both the creator god and the village idiots of the entire multiverse. Yeah. And it's a design. It's been designed that way. And it apparently, this multiverse has been the product of trial and error, because of the properties of the Archon. And you look at all the things that the Archon have to do to maintain their position. Like they got to warn us. They have a hierarchy of queens and then an emperor. And then, the little guys, they have no memory. They're all minions, just like the Borg. And but the Archon, I love the Archon. I've made an Archon army. They're very useful. But when you look at the Archon and you see that all these different design features have been added to them, then because the Archon are vitally important to keep the multiverse from destroying itself. And what you would do if all of our stuff that we do, that's brain damage, was allowed to mirror off into the multiverse and amplify just like it does in Oregon, this multiverse would not last very long. The Archon is what keeps it together, contrary to popular belief. Yeah. Anyway, so it's very obvious that this multiverse is a product of trial and error. It is also extremely obvious that each one of us humans is the avatar of another multiverse somewhere in creation. And the way that you know that for a fact is that in nature, well, we're in a hall of mirrors. It's a massive hall of mirrors. And in nature, you have a lot of identical stuff. My favorite one is the snowflakes, which everybody used to say were all unique, but that's not true. You got 35 archetypes. And look at the orchids. It's totally amazing. You know, you got the cows in England have the regional accents of the idiots in this area. Mirror images everywhere, except us, humans. We are all unique. Therefore, we don't come from here. The images of us are installed here from somewhere else. And the only place that can come from is another multiverse, just like the rest of the design features that make this thing a skid mark.
Mike, we've got a question from the chat room. What is Ormos? Is this is any relation to Ormos?
The white powder gold and Ormos are the same thing. Orbitally rearranged monatomic elements. It's all the precious elements, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, rhodium, iridium, osmium, ruthenium, in what the physicists call the high spin state, where the nucleus is twice as long as it is wide, and apparently draws more energy out of the void and protects the outer valence of electrons of these atoms, which are normally highly polarized. And, well, it's not normal. The way we think of the metals is highly polarized and crystalline. Okay, but in the high spin state, they are nonpolar and superconducting, and the Ormus or white powder gold is found in every living thing, including stars. You know, it's in everything. And the Ormus or white powder gold material makes up 10% of the Earth's magma, makes up 5% of calves and pigs' brain by dry matter weight. There's a lot of it around. I've got a gold mine in the States. I'm kind of an expert on white powder gold, superconducting effects, and everything that has to do with the white powder gold, healing effects, psychological effects. It does all these things, yeah, but it ain't easy. In order to use the white powder gold to achieve enlightenment, which it's talked about in every religious scripture on this planet as being the stuff that the prophets took to become prophets to start each religion. So, you know, the white powder gold or Ormus is at not only the root of life of this planet, but also the root of all of our unfortunate religions. Yeah. Which the religions are another design feature. They've never been meant to work. And, because, even though we've got all of this life, right as part of the planet, we somehow manage to screw it up, don't we? Kill things off.
There's a few people asking you to sit up. Can you do that?
What's that?
Can you sit up a bit? With some people in the chat room, if that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, this is the first time, folks, that we've actually got him in vision, so I suppose it would be nice to sit up, I suppose. So we'll let you sit up. That's great. Good to see you. And back to Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we got fans. They adore you. Okay.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, well, that's true. There are people that are having dreams about me, which I expected. And people, one guy, Bill, thanks to you, Miles, the discoverer of the Orgon found me from your videos. And he started watching my videos and then going to sleep with them. You know?
Going to sleep with him?
Yeah. Trying to make himself happy. His wife's giving him a hard time, so he gets happy behind listening to my stuff.
God help him.
Really?
Okay,
So,
did you continue? Is there any part of the first text that I should have on screen by any chance?
oh, I don't know. People should avail themselves of that essay immediately. Drop whatever you're doing. Grab a hold of that essay and do it. Make yourself an orgone bubble. Change everything around you. You ask for abundance, it shows up. You ask for whatever it is you ask for, it will show up.
So I'm looking at academia. We finally learned that lesson doc. Or which one is it? Or the proof of the multiverse, the way of things
Oh,
doc.
it's a Euphoria one.
Okay, well I'll get that link. Amped up, or the next one. I'll get the other one up. I'll be finished with amped up.
Well, we haven't even really done amped up.
Well, do you want to start that now? Then we'll go on to the other one. I've got that in vision at the moment.
Let me read this. This is so important. Instead of having a title, like one line, I got it in the essay, the Euphoria essay. I've got a title page where the whole page is the title, and it starts out. I'm going to read this. I mean, we're not kidding. Mankind's most important technology. Skip directly to mind over matter. Become the God that you are. Euphoria, telepathic moments, homage by nature, weather control, and alchemy manifestation are normal now, and we've only just begun. It's not kidding. We've done all that stuff. It happened. Everybody that sets up a bubble, all that happens immediately. Immediately, same day, same hour. Okay? The Earth begs you. These orgone bubbles are massive discoveries. This is a do-it-now type project. Drop whatever you're doing and do this now. Then spread this euphoria far and wide now, please. The Earth begs you. It creates euphoria just about any way that you can do it. Very difficult to screw up. And the beauty is that the dark dudes cannot use this tech against us because it manifests euphoria in them too. Giggle. Huge. Since via our amplified intentions, it is possible to quite literally impose your goodwill on nature, the air, the water, the soil, the plants, the animals, and people, then your intention made all this stuff in the first place. Period. This is an introduction to your God self, and it is idiot-proof. Euphoria will always win. And in not too long, we won't need the bubble.
I think we've. You got another phone call?
Yeah. I switched it off, hopefully. So we can simply intend, eventually, when we get the bubbles working everywhere, we can simply intend and things will happen. And I put there, this is one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, really and truly. This is it. An easy way to enlighten the entire planet, which might happen anyway during the coming event. The event is meant to clean up the environment, fix all human ailments, including aging and missing limbs and so on and so forth. That during this coming event, there's an event coming, no question about that. We covered that a while back. But this tech must continue to be spread worldwide so that we can stay in 2D Dreamtime Wonderland and not drop back into 3D physical duality. And so far, tech-aided manifestation and enlightenment avoids the dark night of the soul, which is huge. Clearly, this tech will do that also due to the cleansing of the ethers of fear. Thus, no dark night energy left, all gone. It's organized. And the Ronta people ask me about that. When you start doing meditative manifestation, there is almost always some kind of karmic debt to be paid, and it comes back. Whereas when you do it with technology, especially like this technology, no dark night of the soul. It can't come back. It cannot get back to you. The euphoria blocks it. It's not possible. The only thing that reflects back onto you from doing these things is euphoria, and boy, does it. When you're around the bubble and you're sending, the idea. Let me see if I can do this. Let me make a little demonstration. Okay, so we go. Our breathing with the fire breath, like they use for Kundalini yoga, and it's shh, 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 and you keep doing that. Then you make a Qigong mudra, which is left palm up, and this out front of you like that, Rats.
Do you want to put the phone a bit further away so we can see you a bit
Yeah,
better?
I'm trying to trying to get it further away.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, now you can see it. This is the mudra. My wrists don't bend, and other people's wrists bend. And you make an L with your hands, and you make an L with your body. Then you right at the center of the like if we're outside. I go when I'm by myself. I go right at the middle of the orgone piece. If there's somebody else there, then we do it whichever way the energy's flowing. We do it. That's described in healing circle.
Do you want to
So
put,
you do.
do you want to put do you want to set that up outside, or do you want to stand up to
Yeah,
do that, or how do you want to do that?
we'll lose signal. If I go out there and try to do this, we'll lose signal. All right, now. So this Chiku Mudra, this breathing, you do it 30 or 40 times, like that, and then you breathe all of the air out, and hold your breath. That is the Wim Hof way of making oneself impervious to cold. And what that does, when you breathe all of the air out and stop breathing, and hold your breath, is it forces the body to make steroids that thinks it needs more strength in the lung area, and and you can actually cure emphysema, asthma, and stuff with the same technology, with this Wim Hof technology. What it is doing is adding chi, big time energy to you for your Chi Kun Mudra and for your manifestation of intentions. And the way that I've come up with to do the manifestations of intentions is while you're holding your breath on the whole breath out. You do it telepathically. And you're there, you stop, and you're visualizing what you're wanting to send euphoria to, and then you're feeling that euphoria go to it, and then you see the bubble around it, then you feel yourself in that bubble dancing. They use techno jazz. And the techno jazz is both structured and unstructured. It's perfect. And the whatever it is that you're sending, and you do this invocation in your mind, and then follow up with the bubble thing. I am. You are. I am. I am God. I am. Sending euphoria now, right now, to Mother Earth. So be it. That's it. So be it. And that is, whoa, wow, boy, it's just hammering me now. Just doing that, the energy's come over me, from the bubble from Martha. And it'll happen to you anytime you do it. After you've done it around the bubble enough, whenever you come up with the euphoric intention, you'll know that it's being made manifest, because the euphoria will hit you in the heart chakra, tingling head to toe, which just happened to me. Just happened. And you get the bubble set up, and that will continue to happen for you and all of your people from now on. Everything will change. Everybody will get happy. Now, it'll take a while for the humans to get happy, but when the critters start showing up within minutes, they're happy. So you know that sooner or later the idiots will be happy too. So it's a killer. This orgone bubble is just absolutely awesome.
We've had a couple of people ask about what is the bubble. What is this substance?
It's nonpolar energy. It's just that broadcast, and it falls off, after a while, but once we get it all linked up, we will put the entirety of planet Earth into 2D bubble. The bubble is just nonpolar energy. It's a Meissner field. The Meissner field, which protects the intervalence of electrons from ionization, is nonpolar. That's how it protects it. The same thing with the white powder gold. The energy, the Meissner field, goes out or past the outer valence of electrons and protects them from ionization. That's the physics of it, so we've got that kind of a field. That's a field of protection that's broadcast for hundreds of miles, thousands of miles, and it follows your intention. And again, the orgone piece, like the big one out there, it has memory. You can install programs, and I go out there and I say to the name of my orgone being is Martha. All of these beings that have been female so far, all of the bubbles name themselves. And I just go, Martha, run all programs, please. Thank you very much. And bam, the euphoria smack me. I'll start seeing visions of all these different programs I've stuck in. Ding, 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 like I have a near-death experience. And you just totally blasted. It just flattens you in your chair. Heavy energy, and you just stay there. It's just a heavy-duty spiritual experience, tingling head to toe. The bubble is phenomenal. I mean, it is phenomenal.
So why is it phenomenal? Why do you see this as phenomenal? What is the experience that people can expect or see? What are they looking for?
Well, mainly the feeling of euphoria and the chakras opening up and things happening. Change weather, change. Well, but I like the lady that first took a translator and pointed it at a chembuster lives down Eastbourne, or near Eastbourne, and the thick, heavy clouds that had come in from the Irish Sea all the way across the south coast, really thick. You know what it's like, and she put the translator up to her chembuster, like their cloudbuster they call them. They that thing, like big one of mine, they call it the cloudbuster. Hers is like much smaller than that. Sorry. And she's got a picture of it from space where in 20 minutes that bubble she set up using a translator on a smaller cloudbuster cleaved the clouds and sunshine where she's at. She's got both pictures of the sunshine, her standing in it, the clouds overhead, first of all clouded up, and next thing, sunshine and splitting the clouds, and all the birds, starlings, pigeons, and even magpies all come around. And they don't normally associate with one another that closely, but they just hang around. They're just sitting there in their garden doing nothing. They just absorbing the energy.
Is this something? I think with cloudbusters and that kind of thing, the radar of certain military helicopters and things can see this stuff. I think it comes up purple on the radar. Is that right?
I don't know. We haven't had anybody bothering any of our bubbles as yet like that. Well, except that in the guy in the Mojave Desert, because he's got orgone spread on the ridges of the mountains, on the whole valley, and the helicopters can't fly in there because their equipment it doesn't work. Like the compass, as well as all they stay completely away from where he's at, and nobody's come up to hassle him about it as yet. So
is that because it's not good for them? Well, what makes them not want to do it? What's the thing which?
The 2D cancels 3D. And so their equipment is 3D, works in 3D, and it's very fine equipment. And then all of a sudden they start coming around a very heavy 2D field, as capacitance field. A capacitance field or orgone field, same thing. Right in between the plates of a capacitance field, you have no vibrations, none, zero. So if you got no vibrations, that means you got no cycles per second, which means you got no seconds, which means that you have no time or all time. And in actuality, you have both. And the capacitance, the effective capacitance, is mind-boggling. And they don't want us to know about it. But for example, the Ciba-Geigy effect, where they put genetically modified seeds in the capacitance field, germinated in the capacitance field, and what grew up there is what's called diploid wheat, which is the aboriginal form of wheat on this planet. And they carried on with that, treating seeds with just a plain old, real simple capacitance field. Capacitance field, very simple. It's just two conducting plates with electricity just put on one. You can pulse it on there. You can make it a dynamic field by pulsing it, and then you can pulse the NMR of things and make it grow. Because you have the perfect growing medium.
What is the NMR, and what's the difference between a pulsing field and a multi-frequency field,
uh,
an alternating field?
NMR is a nuclear magnetic resonance. It's
Okay.
the vibration set off by the nucleus of all atoms, and all atoms have an NMR except carbon. And carbon-12 is what most of is what everything's made out of that lives, and it has no NMR, which means that we know that it's vibrating, but it has to be vibrating in a zone of silence, which is a microtubule that leads back to space, to God, obviously, because it's black.
Is that why we're made of carbon-based life form? We're a carbon-based life form.
Yeah, right. It's all God. It's all basically that's what carbon is a bit of God. And what's really interesting about the carbon being it is a bit of God, period, is that its numbers are 666, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, and 6 protons. Excuse me. Maybe you guys' opinions aren't quite correct.
What exactly do you mean by that? It's probably a wee bit too subtle for people already triggered by you saying 666.
Mark of the beast, isn't it? It's in the Bible, it's mark of the beast. That's not true.
What is it then? What is it? The interdimensional field, or what? The entry points between two tetrahedrons?
666 is the description of the carbon that makes everything. You know? And that absolutely leads back to God because it's black. And God is black. That's where we come from. That's where everything comes from, every microsecond. Everything springs out of darkness every microsecond.
Is that why these people worship this black cube thing? I don't want to say that. I don't want to say too many trigger words, but the so-called black cube.
Yeah, no, I don't feel like going into that, Miles. Yeah, I know what they're doing, and it's stupid, and it's not working anyway. You know, the black cube, kind of like started in Mecca. That big black cube that they got there. Well, it was white, and they used to do human sacrifice, turned it black. And then there's a black cube that's supposedly in Saturn, and probably is. But the Orgone bubble cancels all of that negative stuff. Just you can't have any kind of negative thoughts, reasons, or constructs in the euphoric or the Orgone bubble. It won't happen.
Now, could you go over again, because we've got some people have joined late, and what I'm talking about is the materials which people want to use for this, but people are saying you just use some resin and swarf. But what we looked at earlier was much finer. Could you just mention that once again for people who could, and the reason why is it better?
Yeah, well, what you're looking for is surface area, which increases the amount of charge that can be accumulated, which enhances the capacitance field or the Orgone field. So you get more surface area with the smaller the metal bits. And so iron oxide is probably the best, but these things are so powerful when you add energy to them, it can be all aluminum shavings that you get. That's what normally you get as swarf. But if you can get the iron oxide, or if you want to get the iron oxide and add some of that to it, it doesn't have to be all iron oxide. No, but if it's just a little bit in there, or maybe a layer where it's iron oxide and fine dry sand, or best, like I said, fine dry on-site dirt, which you set up a feedback loop with where you're at, and that's what you want to accomplish. And you fine dry dirt in the metal bits, and you leave it dry, and then you put a resin cap on it. You put this in like my one that we saw earlier. It's in a clay pot, a flower pot, and then it's you cap it off. It's dry on the inside, and you cap it off with resin. And it being dry on the inside allows it to move around a little bit, which it will, to get the most power. and also on the inside there's some crystals, of course. And the crystals, you only need like 3 or 4 of them max. You know, you put one crystal in the middle, a clear, really powerful little quartz crystal. The little ones are the most powerful. You put it standing up there in a bed of diatomaceous earth, so it'll pick up that energy, broadcast it through the entire orgonite material, and then above that, you build up you got a little bit of DE there. It's just a little tiny bit of DE in the bottom. Stand the crystal up in that. Layer in your other material that you mixed up, 50-50, dirt and metal bits. You lay that all in until you're up to right just at the top of the crystal. Then you put a piece of shungite on top of that, touching it, and then you add more orgone material till you get a little bit over the shungite. Then you put another piece of crystal or amethyst pointing at the shungite, because the shungite will broadcast everything. It broadcasts throughout the orgonite material. It's multifaceted crystal, and that's it. That's all you need in one piece of orgone. Those 3 crystals, really. And one of them can be amethyst. That's very useful. And then that will provide all the flow that's required, especially when you're doing this bubble. We're looking for amorphous broadcast energy that's going through the gaps. We're not looking for structured energy, which will get stopped after a period of time. And so that it's hard to think of it. As we all want to try to organize things in our mind, but in reality, the best place to be is where you know nothing and you have nothing. Because then you have everything. Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of what that's what this does automatically. By creating the euphoria, it takes people out of their head, and puts them into just the now, and whatever that you manifest with euphoria is going to be pretty nice. You don't have to worry about it.
I've got your page. I think I've got page 8. Infrared lamp, the healing energy. Make your own Orgon Cloudbuster. That's what I've got on screen now.
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the all the details of how to do it. Yeah, make your own Cloudbuster. There it shows the violet ray tubes, and got a picture of them, and a picture of the infrared heat lamp. Those 2 things get the job done. Now we're looking for better, a little bit better technology in order that we can have vision distortion just from one Cloudbuster like what I've got. But we haven't, other than with a whole lot of technology in a 20,000 watt amplifier, which is just not necessary. We're trying to make this as simple as possible, and it doesn't get much more simpler than this. And everybody that does this has phenomenal results. Phenomenal.
In what way is it phenomenal? What is the thing which makes it big?
Change weather. Change weather. Attract the animals. Manifest things coming around that you haven't seen. That you've been wanting, and all of a sudden start showing up. In the deepest recesses of your mind, that whatever it is that you've been wanting for a while will show up. And abundance. You ask for abundance, and next thing you know, that starts happening too. It's really, really kick-ass. Totally phenomenal. This is a manifestation technology. This is a mirror image of whatever you're holding in your pea-picking brain with euphoria. And like I say, these are living beings that have discretion, and they will join with you in euphoria and pull away if you're not. Really, really straightforward. They can't be used for bad.
Some people have asked about your website. Do you want to mention your website?
Oh, I don't know. You mean the academia website where my writings are?
Yeah.
Just Mike Emery Academia. You'll find up top 1/10 of 1% of 20 million researchers posting there. People like this stuff. It's phenomenal. Well, I've answered every major question in physics, genetics, cosmology, and spirituality. It's ridiculous, crazy, but it's true. especially for a Montana cowboy.
Yeah. So I'm just going through some of the intentions. You all by yourself are in unison with others and so forth. I'm sending euphoria to Mother Earth now. So be it. This is the kind of thing you've got to do when you've got this thing working. Is that
Yeah,
right?
that's the most powerful way of installing the intention. And the reason is because the intention that you're putting in is an anu, a bubble. Okay? And when you put that intention, small as it may be, into the bubble, it gets broadcast, gets amplified many times over. And then it reflects back on you. You get the euphoria back. All this euphoria you put out, it comes back tenfold, knocks your stocks off. I mean, it really is powerful. Locks you up. You know, I mean, you just get locked. You know, you know what's going on. You can move if you want to, but you don't want to, because it feels so good, and you're just right there stuck in euphoria for a little bit. And so the anu is what's created, with automatically in the bubble, and it's good to realize that your intention is one of these anus. You can scroll down and show the anu. There's a picture of the anu there.
Yeah, I'm just going to try and get that. I'm just scrolling on the screen at the moment. Tickling the stars. I think it's a
Oh,
bit
that's
off.
down. That's further down. I'm still up by the intention. Installing
Okay.
intention.
Well, we'll just that's the copper tubes and the translator being deployed for Cloudbuster. Now, you mentioned a couple of times on this that we are dealing with some kind of climate change thing coming. Do you want to talk about that? I think I've got the arrow up on this now. I'll fade it in. Okay, the arrow's on screen now. What's this climate change thing? You're talking about a mini ice age.
There's a mini ice age coming.
What sort of time? I mean, with 50 years, next 6 months.
10 years, within 20 years.
Is this something that they predicted that was going to happen if we didn't
It's
have the
already happening.
chemtrails? What? Sorry, say again.
Yeah, it's already happening. I mean, it's colder than hell. And the winters have been brutal. In the north, far north. But the reason that the small ice age is coming has to do with the mineralization of the soil, and the plants. All of the plants leach minerals out the soil, and those minerals create piezoelectric energy, which is converted to heat and keeps the planet warm, and makes soil and all that kind of stuff, makes worms, all kinds of amazing things, and in the soil, what goes on in the soil. And so due to demineralization, simply from all the plants growing, what happens is the earth makes more minerals by sending in glaciers to grind up some rock, and spread it around. And that's how one of the reasons we have ice ages. That and solar minimums, which we got coming up. We got a solar minimum on its way. I don't know the exact time, but it's about I think 20 years. But the other aspect of the ice age coming is very obvious. It's so cold. Winters north and south right now these days, and it's going to get worse.
Now, somebody's asked about the original Wilhelm Reich stuff. Things have to be different nowadays if you get the original designs that Wilhelm Reich did. Are there modifications or changes? When he had his stuff, we didn't have all this RF radiation and this 5G stuff. Do you want to talk about the new 5G material affecting us?
Well, the 5G doesn't actually exist. You got 5G. Oh, you mean
The technology, the 60 gigahertz they're going to have in bus stations and things, they're going to be putting a huge amount of ultra high, the gigahertz frequencies at us.
The bubbles absorb that energy and convert it to good. We can do that with radiation from Fukushima. We could set up bubbles at Fukushima, and there would come a quantum leap where Fukushima there'd be no radiation whatsoever anywhere. It'd probably take a week, maybe less. And it absorbs like the 5G radiation from the cell towers, and you ask it, what you do whenever you set these bubbles up, the very first intention you put in there, please protect all electronic equipment, and it'll do that to the best of its ability. You get too close to it, and that's not possible. And then the other thing that you put in there is that please clean up and allow the communication signals to come through, and it'll do that. It'll clean them up. You can even ask it to make the communication systems healthy, and it'll do that. Now, you have your mind, whatever your mind can come up with, you put into the bubble, that's happening right then.
But it has to be good intention. If you put bad intention in there, it won't work.
Yeah, that has to be done with euphoria, which leads to a question that I had. Okay, well, why euphoria? How is it that, that euphoria is coming out of these bubbles naturally? Right? And it's a very good question, because the void itself is lonely. In here, we have euphoria coming out of the void. That doesn't make sense. Okay? And there's no question about the euphoria coming out the void. That's period. That's what's happening. Okay? So the feeling of euphoria has a lot to do with freedom, which is one of the major reasons for humans. It's freedom. And so we have selected, us collectively, have selected euphoria as being the feeling of freedom. And then, given, this is true, that we collectively have installed the root design features of this skid mark where we're at. It was very difficult. Maintaining the skid mark was very difficult, because the ethers and the anodes are made out of love. All of the lines of the ethers are piezoelectric green, and that's the color of your heart chakra. They're made out of love. And the anode itself, it's got two lines. One's love and the other's time. And so that is the absolute building blocks of everything you see. And somehow or another, we've converted that to a skid mark. And it's taken some serious designing to get that accomplished. And we are involved in that, because these design features could not have been even conceived in a field of love, or a field of, you can't think of these kinds of things. Okay? So this, where we're at, is a field of love. Therefore, these design features had to come from outside here. And they did. When we brought them, we're the ones that brought them as a avatar or representative of these other multiverses that are out there in creation, which also have the exact same problems. Continuous orgasm, all-knowing, all the same problems. But then also you got everybody that you see, that's got a personality. Their multiverse has that personality, which can be heinous or whatever. It's just part of the play. We're not only entertaining this entire multiverse, but the entirety of creation and multiverses that lay out in space in the exact same way that energy lays out in our brain, which happens to be the exact same way that the galaxies and all of creation lay out in this universe. The two pictures overlap one another. The one's a mirror image of the other. What we have out there in the universe isn't an exact mirror image of what we have in our mind, where the ganglions and the dendrites go around in our mind, in the brain. Same exact thing in the universe, and therefore same exact thing in the universe of multiverses, which we are very much a part of, and everybody knows what's going on except us. And we're the creator god of us. Like, wow, how do you do that? So I mean, there's been a lot of design features that we brought here, and this euphoria is one of them. And we had to have come up with this for the purpose of changing the entirety of creation, of eliminating duality in the entirety of creation. Euphoria does that, okay? And it's not myself or Bill, the discoverer of the Orgone bubble. It's not us that installed euphoria in there, okay? No, that's the guys that are pushing this information for people to save themselves, to save the planet, to become free, to become the gods that you are, okay? We're pushing that out there for you, but we didn't design it, obviously. the design had to have been sometime before this. And because everything what you see is an image of somewhere in 2D. And where those images start is at seed level, down at Planck length, where consciousness is made ethers. The round ethers are down there, and then square ethers. That's where it all started, way down there, very tiny. And it still does. Everything starts from there as a seed. The images progress up through the four-sided ethers, and then they get broadcast into the hexagonal ethers, and then they're made manifest in 3D. That whole system is really simple. It's part of, like I say, I've answered every major question in physics. And that one, i.e., exactly how the universe is constructed, needs no further discussion. You result in a computer program, and there's nothing to know about that other than it's a computer program that we designed. And so since we designed it, we can undesign it. And we're coming to that point right now. But since that computer program is still running, we are locked in 3D of images that lock together like this. It's like it is like this. That every single person on this planet has had a precognitive dream or deja vu. Everybody. Okay. So how is it that all of those images fit together if it's not one dream like this? Huh? It can only be one dream. And the source of that dream, we always like to say it's God, but it's not. It's us collectively in our subconscious. The subconscious of humans processes that they know of data equivalent to 10,000 feature length movies all playing at the same time. Now, excuse me. What are you guys doing? What are you doing with all that information? And the answer is it's all bullshit. It's part of the entertainment system that we're creating. When we cancel our mind, for example, this gets me. This is in another essay that's there. The Hindu concept of time. The blinking Hindu concept of time. Everything blinks. And the essay starts with a thing from my video that was inspired by Einstein about how each moment is sovereign, and so it's all blinks, blinkety blink, like like they used to make cartoons, with change the image a little bit and it'd go through and make a moving cartoon. Well, that's what's happening. We have a movie cartoon, and it's not just here locally, but it's in, for example, the yugas, the Mayan calendar, and all these huge cycles of time. What you got mirror images all along there of the exact same thing that happened in a previous civilization. It goes through all of these yugas, through all that time, and there's been 23 different species of humans that populate this planet. They're all gone, right? And we get to forget about them. We get our subconscious wiped out because we all die together. That's another design feature that us idiots have installed here, is these mass extinction events, which they talk about. You can look it up. We're in the middle of the 6th known mass extinction event. Is that, excuse me, 23 different species of humans have populated this planet. Genetic evidence that can't be refuted. Where are they? And look at Mars. So you really look. You got people that have done photo analysis on the pictures that NASA provides from Mars. There's cities up there for us. And they successfully wiped that place clean as a billiard ball, didn't they? How? Politics. Talking to one another. Idiots. That's what we are. It was the Idiotsville. It has been. And so now we're going to break out of it. We're going to break out of Idiotsville into euphoria. But I wanted to finish on the mass extinction events. When we all die, when we do, we've done it a number of times, amazingly, a little while later, 90% of all the DNA on this planet comes back to life. There's 10% that remains unchanged during the death, so the planet and nature remains kind of unchanged, the DNA of that. Then all of a sudden, in a very short period of time, all of the DNA for everything that lives on this planet happens like that. They string it out over like maybe 30 to 50 years, okay? But that's only because the researchers assume that there's lineal time. But There ain't linear time. When you die, there's no time. There's no linear time. In your capacitance field, there's no linear time. Yeah. So everything happens in the now, in the microsecond. And so we collectively all die. When we all die, cancels our all of the images that we had, but those images get stored up in Mother Nature and Mother Earth. When we come back to life, we come back to life pristine. No karma, no problems. So who is it that feeds that created all those images, all this bullshit? Because we go through the same thing again. Okay? Where does all that come from? Who has the Anu large enough to remember all that? And the answer is Sophia, Mother Earth, and Mother Nature. The old bitch. They serve us up that crap that we get to play over again. Inhumane crap that we've been doing to ourselves but intentionally for the purpose of entertainment. Entertainment via separation is the whole purpose of this skid mark. Now, there's one other purpose that came up very clearly. 23 different species of humans have populated this planet, all dead. But there's one neat thing about all of them. They're bigger than us. And they pretty much, for the most part, smarter in every possible way. Humans have been getting smaller and dumber and weaker for a long time. And it has to be a design. And the purpose of the design is to create more idiots for entertainment purposes, which it appears that we have achieved the goal that our pure consciousness set out with is the apex of idiocy with around 2,000 languages, the cultures and mores and of everything in those languages, dreams in those languages, all of which we have access to. It's like Disneyland. Planet Earth is Disneyland, beyond Disneyland, beyond Disneyland. But it all blinks out, okay? And then a little while later, it comes back in. And when it comes back in, we get smaller and dumber and weaker, which is kind of, excuse me, how do you do that? We're in a field of love where, in simple engineering, the biggest problem is grain growth. Everything grows, even the air. Space has weak interactive massive particles. Everything grains off and grows, except us. We go the other way.
So how did that work out? I mean, why did that happen?
Well, because we're trying to make more individuals, apparently.
What do you mean by individuals? I think we'll probably we'll give you 15 minutes more, okay?
More individual consciousnesses, for more entertainment. It's an entertainment thing.
So the whole thing's a setup. It's just to make us happy or somebody else happy.
No, it's just entertainment. It's the best entertainment show that our consciousness has been able to come up with, and we've been working on it for a long time. Because, like I say, this multiverse is the product of trial and error. So we've messed up in the past and had them implode. And it's a toroid. This multiverse is a toroid, like everything that's manifested.
Is this what Nassim Haramein has been talking about in the Resonance Project? Some kind of toroidal field. Every planet's a toroid. Point source black holes everywhere.
Yeah, well, they don't really have it quite right. There's toroids. The Anu is the ultimate, okay, which just happens to look like a toroid, but it's not. You got the DNA organization part in the middle there, whereas a real toroid that is manifest in the ethers, coincidentally, looks exactly like the Tesla toroid, the toroid that Tesla originally wound to broadcast wireless communication. Marconi stole his technology, didn't he? Okay, but that toroid that Tesla wound, you got wires going this way around it. Okay, but he also had wires wrapping around it that way. Okay, and then connected up like that.
Does that create a scalar field? Does that create a scalar field? You cancel the two fields out, no?
No, the scalar field is the ethers. They're all scalar fields. But the toroid is the opposite of a scalar field. You're getting into vibrations and all of the properties of our 3D realm happen as a result of toroid formation in the ethers. And the way that happens, you got 7 image-only realms that are connected up by an emotion, and that emotion causes all of those images to connect. Well, emotions are carried by a spin, and so the spin drills through the 7 parallel realms and then circles up immediately and creates a toroid. And in that toroid is the information that's in the images that are in these 2D realms. It is being converted to 3D. And the first step in converting it to 3D is the toroid. And when you get the toroid formation, we covered this really well in the 2D nature spin, Miles. And this is exactly how it works. This is the end of the discussion on physics. Yeah. And when that toroid forms, then you have a split in the phase angle between the electric and magnetic components that are parallel in 3D and polarized at right angles and polarized in 3D, but they're parallel in 2D. In the anu itself, it's got 2 lines. They're parallel. Okay. Well, so is the electric and magnetic components. They are the parallel lines of the anu, which are love and time, or magnetism and electricity. So when it goes from parallel to right angles when the toroid forms up, then you have that most important aspect of 3D reality, and that makes everything hard is the phase angle between the electric and magnetic component. So you get crystals, so you get things that polarity, makes things hard. The plastic, everything, the matter is just consciousness, and this is what makes that consciousness seem real. Is that right there, the conversion of the electric and magnetic components from parallel to 2D, and then what you have is vibrations. But in order to vibrations, you have to have lineal time. You also have inertia. You also have all the properties of 3D. Then you start getting into one toroid clangs onto another because the rule like attracts like. That the way it does it is according to the Fibonacci series. So then you wind up with the Fibonacci series, and then right after that you have sacred geometry. It follows very simply, and it's all due to one rule. Like attracts like. This is how the universe is constructed, and all the way to the multiverse. It's really simple. And the toroids are the base of 3D everything that you see in 3D. It has toroids in it that cause vibrations to make it happen. What you see there, as well as there's an anu around it, like your body. There's an anu around it that is the ultimate guide. That's God, the 2 male forms of God. And it's not a toroid, it's an anu. And it's got the information in the DNA part of the anu that on humans, the center spin of the anu you showed earlier, has the ability to store 48 minutes of a sequence of events, which is why the television programs in the United States run 48 minutes. And so what you have in the terms of your past, present, and future is all the anus, all of that past, present, future broken up into 48-minute sequences of events stored in anus that are all part of your aura right now. And that information in there is what directs the toroids in how to be manifest. It's just like consciousness control it. This is absolutely consciousness of. It's the same. All chemical transmutation of elements is the same thing. All chemical transmutation of elements goes on all day, every day, in all living things. And the way that occurs is that the crop of corn is the easiest to use because it has 10 times more magnesium in it than what's leached out the soil. The magnesium is part of the chlorophyll. The difference between chlorophyll and hemoglobin. One's got magnesium, the chlorophyll, and the hemoglobin's got iron. One's red and the other's green. All right, so you have all of this chlorophyll that's got all this magnesium 10 times more than what's leached out of the soil. Where did it come from? You do have to answer the question because the facts are irrefutable. And the answer is it's as a result of all chemical transmutation of elements, which is what makes a piece of iron is the information in the anu, on the DNA part of the anu in the middle of it. That's what makes a piece of iron. Okay, well, the plant, the whole crop of corn says, we need magnesium, change it to magnesium. Bam! Blink of an eye. Presto changeo, iron becomes magnesium. And that's the way everything does. Everything does that. And not only that, does it do that, but it mirrors off. And as it mirrors off, it comes into being again, and the information that provides that is needed to have it come into being again every microsecond is stored in our anu, in our aura. Okay, and that's with everything: the rock, the tree, everything you see has that anu around it. Otherwise, you wouldn't see it. And everything, and the other reason you see it is that anu directs formation of toroids within that thing, whatever it may be.
Okay, I've got just to summarize, I've got the bubble is the most important essay. Do you want to just summarize by re-informing people about that, and what's just to sort of close out on, sort of so people can look up the right stuff?
Yeah, well, just go on to the academia website and get the Euphoria essay. It's the second one now, towards the very top. And as far as summation, I'll sum it with the title page, rereading the title page, because it is what it is. This is mankind's most important technology, and the reason is not only for the manifestation aspect, but also it cleans all of the crap out the ethers that fouls the ethers. I mean, obviously we have negative energy, right? Okay, that negative energy has to be stored in an anu, right? And it has to travel, and that anu has to have ways of transferring that information, and that's how the satanic people, they use this technique. I've written it down a long time ago. Exactly how.
What exactly do they use? How do they do that?
They have a form of telepathy that occurs due to what's called odd energy that Baron von Reichenbach found, in the 1880s. Well, from the 1860s to 1880s, he studied.
And who is he exactly?
Baron von Reichenbach. His father was a librarian when he was a kid, and he read, and he wound up owning chemical factories and munitions factories and all kinds of factories. He owned land from the Rhine to the Danube. This is the real land baron, German baron, and he had villages there that were working in his full of people that were working for him in his factories. And there was something that was very strange about the villages. They had what they called lunatics, people that would that do sleepwalking at night. And they would also be very psychic, and they'd be able to tell people what was going to happen and things like that. It scared the bejesus out of everybody else in the village, and they always ostracized these lunatics. And the Baron didn't like that, and because the sleepwalking and strange effects always occurred on full moon nights, then he decided that there has to be a scientific reason for it, and he found it. And it's odd energy, and it's described in one of my essays called Real Science, where is it? But anyway, it doesn't matter. Baron von Reichenbach, you can look it up. Then this odd energy, where it flows in, he can take pictures of how it flows in threads. And so you have the anu, and the anu, all anus are in an etheric cell. That's the part of the background screen. And the outer edge of the anu right here is the Shiva part that's supposed to be dissolving images back to God, back into space. And that is kind of a negative aspect of Shiva. And so the negative losh or fear or things like that, that's where it connects on to the anus right there. It's the only place it can to. Because the rule, like attracts like, it's very simple. And so that part of the anu is in an ether, and so information can transfer from this anu to the next anu and the next ether and so on and so forth, and it does that, and so it runs in threads, and it also runs slow. It's very slow energy, versus what we're talking about here going through the gap is instantaneous. But that is the communication system that the satanic folks use, and they definitely have one. And the way that you know that is the media. It's crystal clear that the media is micro-controlled. How do they do that? and it's not via email.
Is
If it
it
was,
the
we'd know.
artificial intelligence, this AI stuff in computer systems, a consciousness within computers?
Nah. This is an organic telepathic method that's allowed in the ethers. It's another part of the design feature. All these dark dudes are a design feature that we created. None of that stuff is outside of us. None of them doing us. No, it's not. Excuse me. It's us doing us. We're the fucking idiots. We're the ones that organized all of that. So I'm sorry. You got to take responsibility for who you are. You are the creator god of this skid mark for entertainment purposes, and that is entertaining to your pure consciousness. Even getting your ass blown up is entertaining to your pure consciousness. Example: 22 people went to Manchester and got themselves killed, right? Okay. Excuse me, their body knew. Their body knew a death event was coming, okay? In any number of ways, by the past, present, future, which your DNA knows, by kinesiology, your body's infinitely aware, and the Max Planck Institute. The human body is fully aware of what the mind's going to decide 7 seconds before it does. Physics proved it. Max Planck Institute. It's continuous state of precognition. The body is over what our mind is going to decide. Continuous. It's like, excuse me, how is it that we're not connected in? And, excuse me, why would our bodies allow us to take us to a death event? The answer is because we like it. We like death. It's kick-ass. Fucking idiots. Haven't you figured that out by now? Anyway, that's what we are, and that's how
Well, I
we
think we've
go.
been running a long time. Mike, it's really great to see you. Do you want to just give a final goodbye and hi and bye and whatever, and we'll call
Yeah,
that.
blessings, right? You're free. Make your own orgone bubble now. Drop whatever you're doing and go make yourself an orgone bubble. Period. Thank you very much.
Well, I'll say good night on that, and I can't get any more good night on that. So, thank you, Mike Emery, in Vision for the very first time, and we're absolutely fantastic about that. Good to see that you're having a good time, and well, bye for now.
Adios, bro. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll fade you out, and I'll put a couple of things in the media thing here, and yeah, this is we'll stick that up there. We'll stick that up there, and yeah, if you want to try and support bases, a lot of these things are done using Steemit, and I'll cut that up. And Steemit's one of the ways of doing it, or via PayPal, and also Patreon.com. And this is copyright MGM production for the Basis Project, and we'll see you on the other side. Thank you for now.